Matt Bernie, you're taking a look at some stakes action on the 4th of July at Pleasanton. Race number 8, the $50,000 Oak Tree Sprint, 6 furlongs on the main track. Before we dive into the field, head on over to bets.drf.com. All the latest and greatest. As far as sign-up offers are concerned, new members, existing members, you name it, you've got it. Bets.drf.com is where you need to go for all the details. Let's take a look at this field of speedsters going 3/4 of a mile on Independence Day. The number 1, Algernon. Highest last out buyer in the field. He has a victory at Pleasanton in the past. He's actually hit the board 2 out of 3 times here. This distance isn't a problem for him. Highest last out buyer. So many things that point to him as a major player. But to be frank, I don't know that I love him on the main track. I know he's 3 for 8 lifetime on the dirt, on fast dirt anyway. But from a numbers standpoint, he's slower than he is when he runs on synthetic. And that Lost in the Fog most recently, that run came on the synth up at Golden Gate. He's done good work on the main track, don't get me wrong, but I just think from a number standpoint, I think he's considerably better on synthetic than he is on dirt. However, the Timeform US Pace Projector looks at Algernon and says he's going to have a very advantageous setup. You see that blue bar indicating it's going to favor horses on or near the early lead. Algernon is the one they have out there on the front, followed by the 4 and the 3. The number 2 is Rumpus Cat for Victor Trujillo. This is it feels like a very sneaky move to me. Trujillo claims this horse most recently from Richard Baltas coming out of an N3L race, going a mile on grass at Santa Anita for himself, comes up here, turns him back to 6 furlongs on the main track. I don't know that there's enough there for me as far as dirt is concerned, but at the same time, I'm not going to be surprised at all if this horse runs quite well. This is one of those sneaky moves. I think that a trainer looks at it and says, this is a horse that can handle this. We're going to dip in, try to get a big piece of this purse. A Rumpus Cat, if I'm using him, it'll be underneath, if at all, just because I think he's going to be outrun early. But this is a sneaky move, in my opinion. We'll find out what we get from him. The 3, Touched by Autism. Marcia Storch trains this one. This is a horse that has done plenty of good work throughout his career. 8 for 32, 8 other times in the money. Nothing to sneeze at. Half of your lifetime races, you finish in the top 3. He's another one, though, that I just look at it and say, from a running style standpoint, I think he's going to be up against it. Timeform US thinks it'll be a slow pace. I happen to think when I went through the first time, it was going to be a slow pace. From a number standpoint, he actually fits quite well, but the turn back in distance, going back to the dirt, I don't know that it's all going to work for him. And the fact that maybe he doesn't get the pace that he needs to run at. Touched by Autism, another one. If I'm using him, it'll be underneath only. The 4, Summer's Image. This is a nice horse. He's 2 for 5 lifetime on the main track, on the dirt anyway. 3 for 7, 5 times in the exacta from 7 lifetime starts on the synth. Comes into this in solid form. Each of the past 2 runs have been good, a victory and a runner-up finish. One of those came in a stakes race. I know it was on turf, but he's at least shown that he can handle this sort of move. And he has a victory over the Pleasanton main strip in the past. He's 1 for 2 lifetime. He has the ability to go, but also the ability to sit. I don't think the connections would be disappointed at all if Algernon goes and Summer's Image is the one that takes up the chase, sitting just off his flank. The 5, Sir Vronsky. I think this is an interesting little runner here for Quinn Howie. 4-1 on the morning line, 22 for 40 lifetime. He's won more than half of his lifetime starts 8 more times, second or third, so 30 for 40 in the money. These are all just blue-collar racehorses. I love every bit of it. 5 for 10 lifetime on the main track, 11 for 17 lifetime on synth, 14 times in the exacta from 17 lifetime on the synthetic surface. I'm okay with the move over to the dirt, because this is a horse that, in my opinion, from a numbers standpoint, it's almost the opposite of one of the horses we spoke about earlier. The idea that I think his game goes to the next level on dirt as opposed to the synth. So while he's done most of his damage on synth, I think he's actually better suited for the main track on dirt. I just think his numbers improve from there. Go back to that run at Oak Tree Pleasanton. It's no longer Oak Tree Pleasanton, just Pleasanton. But go back to that run July 4th of last year. It was a big effort. He earned a 90 buyer speed figure. And I understand he won that day gate-to-wire fashion, and it was against open 40 claimers. But he's shown in the past the ability to sit and be effective. Sure, he couldn't quite get to Summer's Image in that most recent run, the N2X at Golden Gate. I just think Sir Vronsky is interesting from a value standpoint and from a running style standpoint. The 6, Tribal Storm, 3-1 on the morning line. Ari Herbertson, you always got to respect anything this Bard sends out. It's an interesting spot. You go back to the dirt from the turf most recently. My concern is that the past 3 runs, and I know we've got a long time between them all, it feels like he might not be what he once was. And I know he's only 5 years old, and he could certainly turn it around, second start off the bench. It almost feels like this was sort of the plan all along. Get a run into him, have him ready to peak for a race like this. I don't know that he is what he once was. At one point, he was that nice high 80 type of horse. He just seems like he's trending the wrong direction to me at 3-1. I just think he's a little bit of an underlay. And the 7, Pure Comedy. We'll find out what we get here. This, to me, is a perfect example of a horse that his form on one surface, it pales in comparison to the other. He's 6 for 23 lifetime on synthetic. He is 0 for 4, and he's never hit the board in 4 lifetime starts on the dirt surface. William Anton Georgie takes him out here, but for me, Pure Comedy is purely a pass. I don't want any part of him. No disrespect to the connection. So, where am I going to go in the main event at Pleasanton on the 4th of July? I like the 5 horse in here. It's just an instance where, to me, Sir Vronsky at the price, he's going to be able to sit off those couple horses that figure to go early on. I think he takes his game to the next level on the dirt as opposed to the synth, and I think he's going to be able to get the job done. 5, 4, 6, and 2 for me in the 8th at Pleasanton on the 4th of July. If you're playing this race, playing any of the races at Pleasanton, you should be playing with DRF Bets. Bets.drf.com is where you need to go. You get all the latest and greatest as far as sign-up offers are concerned. Bets.drf.com for all the details. Schedule post time for the 8th at Pleasanton on the 4th of July, 5:15 Pacific. Good luck.